I feel like shit.
Monday, happy days. Wednesday, happy days.
It's just one of those
happy days. The weekend comes, let's not go up.
It's just one of those days where you don't wanna wake up. Everything is everybody sucks. You don't really know why, but you wanna justify ripping someone's head off. No human contact, and if you interact, your life is on contract. Your best bet,
Just knock it off, you scumbucket.
it's just one of those days. It's just one of
Monday,
those.
happy days.
It's just one of
Wednesday,
those.
happy days.
It's just one of those
Happy
days.
The weekend comes, let's not go up. Ready to extend.
It's just one of those days, feeling like a freight train. First one you complain, please with the bloodstain. Damn right, I'm a maniac. You better shoot, cause I'm fucking up your program. And if you're stuck up, you just locked up. Next in line to get fucked up. Your best bet is to stay away, motherfucker. It's just,
I'm losing my cool.
it's all
Monday,
about,
happy days.
it's just one of those,
Happy days.
it's just one of those
Happy
days.
The weekend comes, let's not go up. Ready to extend.
Feel like shit. My suggestion is keep your distance. Right now I'm dangerous. Right now I'm dangerous.
Something's happening to the bonds.
My day keeps going this way and this way.
I'm gonna pop you one so you'll stop playing games.
Give me something great. Give me something great. I hope you know I'm like a chainsaw. A chainsaw. A motherfucking chainsaw.
What?
So come and get it.
What we got here is a case of mistaken identity, you know? See, now this here is
Not Robert.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chief Moody, and welcome to episode 101 of the Mood of the Nation podcast. I'm your host. I've already said my name anyway. What's the point of doing that? First things first, I want to apologize for the slight lateness. The reason for it being is, well, actually, I was meant to do the show at 7 p.m., but there was a reason why it was been postponed to about half an hour later. So I was working, of course, as per usual, and I finished a little bit later than expected. So I was a bit worried that I wasn't going to be able to make the show on time, and of course, getting everything stored up, doing all kinds of stuff, say like taking a shower after work, cleaning up a little bit, having dinner and all of that. So I just want to do all of that, get everything prepared, and then that way everything will all be done and dusted type of idea. So anyway, had a shower, had dinner. What else did I do before the show started? I got all the stuff I need that I'll be covering today and all of that. So yeah, everything's all good to go. That being said, of course, the show started at 7:30 rather than 7, but that usually happens anyway. But hopefully next week it won't be like that. Although I'll probably maybe give a quick message in advance just to make sure that, hey, it's not going to start at 7, but instead it'll be about 7:30, or maybe before then, maybe later on. I don't know, but I'll give you a message on Telegram. In fact, speaking of Telegram, I'm just going to get this banner up here, all my other social platforms. I hope you all like the lighting. So for the first time, of course, I'm using Gammon Sandwich's torch that he sent me as a way of having a bit of a lighting effect. Might not be necessarily, well, I mean, it's good, but obviously this laptop here is kind of covering it a little bit. But hey, as long as you can see me from this perspective here, and hopefully that actually might be a lot better. So compared to the previous episodes where the lighting has not really been too great, I know Sam was pretty vocal about that. So, but hey, got it all sorted up. So hopefully it's not too bright or anything like that at all. It's kind of beaming at my face, but hopefully it might come off better for your guys' perspective watching the show right now. So let me just have a look and see who's in the chat just now to make sure. So we have Gavin Sandwich in the chat. Hello, Gavin. Thank you very much for watching the Mood of the Nation podcast. Of course, we have the lovely English Rose in the chat. Hello, English Rose. Thank you very much, as per usual, of watching Mood of the Nation podcast. Greatly appreciate you being here. We have Bill Athling. How you doing, Bill? Thank you very much for watching Mood of the Nation, as per usual. Streaky Bacon, inshallah, Streaky Bacon, as per usual. Thank you very much for watching Mood of the Nation. Let me see here. Canny Henny is in the chat. Hello, Canny. Thank you very much for watching the show. Rory Herbert is with us. Thank you very much for watching Mood of the Nation, Rory. Thank you very much. Keith Grant, thank you very much for watching. Jacob J, thank you very much for watching Mood of the Nation, as per usual. Kitchen Skillet, thank you very much for watching the Mood of the Nation podcast. We also have Roscoe in the chat. Thank you very much, Roscoe. How you doing? Thank you very much for watching Mood of the Nation. English Weather is with us. How you doing, English Weather? Just bring my microphone a bit closer. There we go. Thank you very much for watching the Mood of the Nation podcast. I think it's covering my shoulder there, but anyway, it shouldn't be not a big deal. The Earl of Stair is with us. Hello, Earl of Stair. Thank you very much for watching the show. Sir Thomas Lipton, hello, how you doing? Thank you very much for watching the Mood of the Nation podcast. Greatly appreciate you being here. Exile Viking is with us. Hello, Exile Viking. Thank you very much for watching the Mood of the Nation podcast. So far, there's about 24 people watching the show already, which is really good. Thank you all very much for coming along, as per usual, to watching this great show. We just done this past Sunday. We just hit, of course, the milestone episode, which was episode 100. Quite a few guests on. We had Cyborg on for a little bit, but then he had to go away to have dinner after that. Speaking of the guests on episode 100, Joe Marsh is in the chat. Hello, Joe. Thank you very much for watching the Mood of the Nation podcast. And of course, once again, thank you very much for appearing on episode 100 of the Mood of the Nation podcast. We also had Mark Collett on the show, which of course was the first time he appeared on the Mood of the Nation. Of course, that will not be the first and only time he will appear on the show. In the near future, as I said, possibly next month, if he's not too busy, I'll definitely bring him on for a future episode. Same thing with St. Harrison. I'll definitely bring him on in a future episode, and we'll definitely wait and see from there. So it was quite an episode, I'll definitely say, with that. It was just the fact, I know I've said this already during that episode, but the fact that I've hit 100 episodes of the Mood of the Nation, I don't know how I did that, but I mean, I've said it already, but it's all thanks to you guys with that, with your ongoing support, which I greatly appreciate that every single time. So then, what to do? Well, I know exactly what to do. We're going to talk about the first topic. We're almost at 10 minutes in. So we'll just get right into the first topic, which will be, of course, the main topic at hand we will talk about. So what exactly is the Mood of the Nation? Well, the Mood of the Nation really is this, and we're not going to talk about what's going on here in Britain at the moment. There is an article I'll definitely cover into, I would say, later on. But the first topic, and I want to get this up here real quick in terms of background music. Let me see if I can maybe... Oh, I should definitely open this up first. Right. I hope that's not the trailer, but the music I'm going to play. I want to play this music in the background just to pretty much set the tone for what we're going to be talking about. I think this actually, yeah, is about an hour long, so this might be it. Oh, crap. Didn't need to play at that time. Hopefully you guys can hear. If it's hopefully it shouldn't be too quiet or anything like that at all. But let me just share the screen real quick. Ragnar Ironspear is with us. Thank you very much for watching the show, Ragnar. I appreciate you being here. Let me see here. Share audio, system audio. Here we go. Right then. Okay. Should then go back to here. Yeah, that's fine. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to play this song again just for a bit of context in this case. But we're not going to be talking about what's going on in Britain. Instead, what we're going to be talking about here is another country that's pretty, well, still in Europe, I would say, that's pretty nearby to us. And that country happens to be, of course, France. Oui. France. The country of baguettes. Let me just turn it down a little bit. Hold on. Sorry, folks. Anyway, France. The country of baguettes, of love, especially when it comes to the city of Paris, or Paris. Je m'appelle and all of that. Bonjour, I guess. Oui, no, poupou. A very cultured country, I would definitely say that. They definitely have a lot of stuff when it comes to the arts. especially if you go to any museum or anything like that at all. They do really have a strong appreciation for like the arts when it comes to like film or television or animation or anything like that at all. They're very cultured, especially when it comes to alcohol being like the wine. Le fond c'est wine. Yeah. All right. I think you'll get the point there. So, okay, we're going to be talking about France. Now, it's not specifically the country itself. I would say it's more to do with the culture and maybe somewhat the history that might kind of tie into it as well. But it's pretty similar to what's actually going on here in Britain in terms of like demographics and whatnot. Now, I did bring up the arts just now when it comes to France. Now, as I said, that Dublin, it's not Dublin. When it comes to the arts, as I said, the French have a very strong appreciation for the arts when it comes to that. Again, whether it be like films or television or animation or literature, say like comic books or anything like that at all, you name it. So there's a reason why I brought this up, because there has been an upcoming French film that came to my attention, and of course the trailer has been released to the point where I think it's something that definitely needs to be talked about, because this trailer for this film, produced by Netflix of all companies. Now, we all know exactly that Netflix is not necessarily a great company. After all, they have produced a lot of degenerate shit in the past. I mean, the most famous or infamous cases of this, of course, everyone would remember, is even though they didn't really made it, I think they only distribute the film within their streaming services, if you will. Because again, it's another French film that came out back in 2020, if I'm not mistaken. Now, this is a film I did talk about in the past, and how it's just a complete cesspool of a film. And that film, of course, would be Cuties. Now, we all know exactly what happened with that film and just the backlash that film received. Of course, rightfully so, because that film is basically a gateway to pedophilia, as we all know. So since then, there's been another film that's been announced, and of course is coming relatively soon. I think it's meant to come out next month, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not entirely too sure when exactly, or it might be, I don't think it'll be postponed, because usually when a film is postponed, it usually is a sign, like a bad sign that something's not going right with the film whatsoever. So I'm assuming it's coming out next month. Now, what we'll do is, I have the trailer up and running. I will be somewhat reacting to it. I have seen it already. I've seen other people giving their takes on the trailer itself, and not only that, but I will also be looking into another podcast, if you will, that's given their hot takes, if you will. You could see kind of like a bit of a Sivnat type of take on it, if you will. But anyway, what I'll do first is I'm going to bring the trailer up. Now, of course, just for the sake of not getting caught by copyright or anything like that at all, because YouTube have been extremely gay when it comes to that. I know there's been some episodes of The Mood of the Nation where it hasn't been taken down necessarily, but it's been hidden from other people, especially... God damn it. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I'll just get back onto here. Anyway, some of my videos have been not necessarily taken down, but they're hidden by the general public due to the fact that they've been struck by copyright. Never mind the fact that, well, I guess that would apply the ending songs I would play at the end of each episode of Mood of the Nation. But sometimes I would maybe watch a clip or so of certain events, if you will, and that's been hit by copyright. So I'm going to try and not to play the full thing. I'm going to try and, of course, pause it and do some commentary in the background with that. Again, just so that it avoids any copyright infringement or anything like that at all, given my take on all of that in this case. So I got the trailer here for the film called Athena. This is the film that's... from what I can gather, from what I've seen, and I know there's been a lot of people within our circles that have been talking a lot about this film, and rightfully so, calling it not just anti-French propaganda, but they're calling it anti-white propaganda. And if we watch this trailer together, you will definitely understand why people are calling it anti-white. Roy Herbert in the chat, real quick. I haven't renewed my Netflix subscriptions since Cuties. I haven't missed it, to be honest. I mean, yeah, I mean, you've not missed a single thing. Again, it's just been trash every single time. There was one show on Netflix that really just put me off with that streaming service, and I've not seen the film. I've seen clips of it. Of course, I know people will say, "Oh, well, technically, you don't really understand the full context to it." I'm like, no, I'm sorry, I don't need to understand the full context of it, especially after what I've seen. And that show, it's an animated show for adults, and I'm trying to think. Oh, what was the name of it? It's like it's just it has that really obnoxious type of art style. Like, I mean, not. I mean, even I'm trying to think. Like in like a comparison, it's all the premise of the show itself, and maybe people might pop the name in the chat, but I can't remember the name of the show. But basically, the premise of the show is an animated show, an adult animated show or cartoon, that's about kids going through puberty, and it's really, really bizarre. I believe some of the creators are, of course, part of that tribe, the big nose, small hat tribe, if you will. So, of course, a type of content like that, you would know what to expect regarding to it. And I can't remember the name of it. I mean, it's been it's been a while since I've last came across that show, but the basic, as I said, the basic premise of that show was about kids going through puberty, and it's just really bizarre. Anyway, don't buy papers, don't sub to Sky or streaming services, smash your TV. Yeah, I agree, Joe. I agree. I think people definitely need to maybe get away from the TV, especially all of the anti-white propaganda you're seeing nowadays. Ragnar Iron Spear, Chief Rudy, did you see the hit piece on PA by the British Freedom Party? I mean, I have. Well, I'll say this, Ragnar Iron Spear, and I'll just be as brief as I possibly can. I have seen that video, and I think, honestly, there's no point of talking about it. These people really shouldn't be trusted in any way, shape, or form. And I'm not going to waste any single breath talking about those complete fraudulent douchebags. So, yeah, that's my take on it in that case. So I think what's more important is getting the word out there and definitely wanting to preserve our people, our culture, and our history. I think that's more important than a bunch of so-called nationalists, basically talking shit about PA. But then, of course, we'll go on to say, "Oh, but I've never really had any interest in them whatsoever." Then why the fuck are you talking about PA then? But anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that on the matter. They're complete frauds regarding to that. But anyway, that's all I'm going to say on that. We'll just move on. Well, we'll go back to what I was saying before. We're going to have a look at this trailer called Athena. This is a new film. It's a French film that's coming out next month, I believe. So, like I said, I'm going to do some background commentary on the trailer itself. Again, just to avoid copyright and all of that. In fact, I think, who was it that said it in the chat before beginning? I think it was English Rose. I've seen the trailer, but for this, it's absolutely left-wing porn. Yeah, I mean, it definitely comes off as that. Sure, maybe this might be better actually, again, to avoid copyright. But anyway, let's have a look at this trailer together. So again, I'll pause it here and there, but I give my commentary in the back with that. So let's have a look at this together. So if you've seen it already, you know what to expect. If you haven't seen it, then buckle down and just be prepared. So anyway, 3, 2, 1, play.
Mon frère est décédé à 0h30 cette nuit. Pour la mémoire d'Idir, les coupables seront traduits en justice. Je vous demanderai de rester calme.
So, right from the bat, what I've heard about the synopsis of the film is that it's basically a group of minorities, non-French people, wanting to basically start an uprising because one of their own was killed by a police officer or police officers. even though we don't exactly know that if that were to be the case within the film, but that's what's kind of coming off as from both this trailer and and also the synopsis of the film itself. I mean, might be completely wrong on that, but that's definitely what is really coming down to with that. So now you also might notice here with the titling of this trailer, Athena, directed by Romain Gavras. I hope I pronounced that right. I'll come to that director in just a short moment. Now, I don't believe he's. Well, I try to have a look into more information about him. He's definitely like a French director. He's not like part of the the tribe or whatever. But there's a bit of an interesting background with this gentleman, especially when it comes to his dad or his father, who's also he's not a French filmmaker, but he's a Greek filmmaker. But I'll get to that in a short moment, and then we'll see from there.
Il est inadmissible d'imaginer que les policiers protègent leurs collègues et prétendent ne pas savoir qui a fait ça dans ce quartier d'Athéna où tout le monde se connaît.
Again, just pausing it real quick. This is the Venice Film Festival. Now, I had a bit of just a brief study into this as well. This film festival has quite a history with that, especially when it first started. If I even just going back onto here real quick, and then I'll show you guys what I mean in just a short moment here, because it has something to do with Mussolini. And let me just get onto this real quick here. Should have had this open up, but again, I was a bit worried about the connection issues or anything like that at all. Because, sorry, excuse me. Because supposedly, if you have multiple tabs open during a stream, then that might affect your connection. I don't know, but anyway, let me just share the screen real quick. Oh, Kerr from PA Young Scots is in the chat. How you doing, sir? He writes, reminder that the anti-whites are perfectly fine with racing conflicts as long as it's the whites that lose. See people praising the villain of Black Panther. Yes, exactly that, dude. Let's have a look at this. So the Venice Film Festival. If I can have a look at the history bit. So then, during the 1930s. During the 1930s, the government and Italian citizens were heavily interested in film. Of the money Italians spent on cultural or sporting events, most of it went for movies. The majority of films screened in Italy were American, which led to government involvement in the film industry and the yearning to celebrate Italian culture in general. With this in mind, the Venice International Film Festival was created by Italiano Volpi, or Giuseppe Volpi, or something like that. Luciano De Fio and Antonio Mariani. Antonio, sorry, I had to do it. In 1932, Volpi, a statesman, wealthy and a wealthy businessman, and avid fascist who had been Benito Mussolini's Minister of Finance, was appointed president of the Venice Biennale the same year. He served as the festival's Secretary General and Defi. Oh, sorry. So Mariani served as the festival's Secretary General, and De Fio headed its executive committee. So it definitely does have a large, quite a history to it when it comes to Italian filmmaking, especially with this film festival. Now, I think just mention that just now. If you want to read more about it, I know it's a Wikipedia article, but if you want to have a look at it yourselves, you could definitely look at this through this link here. This is for the Wikipedia page. Again, if you guys want to. I just think it's rather sad that the what it was back when it was first created to now, like literally 90 years later, and it's basically selecting this film as like, oh, this is like a great film of high acceptance or something to that effect. It's sad. It really is utterly sad. But anyway, I'll go back to the trailer just now, and then we'll just continue on from there. So about 44 seconds in, it only gets worse from here, folks. But let's just we'll stick together with this one. So anyway. Since the name popped up, I might as well just get into this director right now, Romain Gavras, or Gavras, again, France or French. Now, again, I had a bit of digging into this director also, just slight, when it comes to researching like possible if I can. Let me just get this up here. Oh, sorry, excuse me. So, 41 years old. So he's quite so he's quite I don't know if he was maybe like a big name filmmaker, but he's been in the industry for quite a long time. So he's produced quite a few films. He's produced a lot of like music videos. In fact, for example, he's done. He's known for directing Jamie XX's video "Gosh," Kanye West's video "No Church in the Wild," and MIA's video "Bad Girls." He also directed Justice's Stress and MIA's "Born Free," both controversial for their depiction of graphic violence. Gavras' films and music videos often portray a gritty setting, just juxtaposed with high energy content. His second film, "The World Is Yours," Le Monde is the toy. I guess I pronounce it, being French. Was screened at the Directors' Fortnight during the 2018 Cannes Film Festival. Now, I think I talked about the Cannes Film Festival, or maybe it was another. Actually, maybe it was Sundance, if I'm not mistaken. And people in the chat, please correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I remember from the Cannes Film Festival, this was a long while ago. I last talked about this, but this was when I was talking about the film Cuties when that first came out. This was before Mood of the Nation, and I think I was just becoming a proper nationalist at that point. But I talked about the film in another stream, and I brought up the Sundance Film Festival. I think it was a Sundance Film Festival, if I'm not mistaken. And from what I remember, a lot of the head people behind that festival are, in fact, Jewish, of course, or I think the one person who's the main head was Jewish, and of course, he's known. He was basically caught doing a lot of really shady stuff, and he was basically, I believe, from what I can remember, he was an actual like pedophile, if I'm not mistaken, or at least he was a sympathizer for pedophilia. Again, please, people in the chat, correct me if I'm wrong with that. I just only remember talking about that during that one stream, but again, this is pre Mood of the Nation. So anyway, let's get to this director here. I'll just share this screen again, another Wikipedia article, but again with that. So his family, he actually grew up with a family of filmmakers. I believe his mother was a French, in fact, even says here, he is the youngest son of French journalist and film producer Michel Ray Gavras and Greek filmmaker Costa Gavras. So that might explain the last name. It's not exactly French, but it's Greek, to be fair. His sister Julie Gavras and brother Alexandre Gavras are also filmmakers. In 1995, he co-founded the film collective, French name, with his childhood friend Kim Chaprion. Again, another master of pronunciations, especially in this case being French. But anyway, I did a little bit of digging with all the family members, and I couldn't exactly find anything that was that might indicate why exactly this Romain Gavras would make a film like Athena, except for one person, and that would be Costa Gavras. Now, as I just mentioned, Costa Gavras is a Greek filmmaker, well, Greek, French, give or take. But there's a bit of interesting history regarding to this gentleman here, and I'll read a little bit during his early life section. So, Costa Gavras was born in Arcadia. Again, I would imagine it would be French, or no, it's not French, sorry, Greek. His family spent the Second World War in a village in the Peloponnese and moved to Athena after the war. His father had been a member of the pro-Soviet branch of the Greek resistance. Oh dear. And was imprisoned during the Greek Civil War. His father's Communist Party membership made it impossible for Costa Gavras to attend university in Greece or to be granted a visa to the United States. So after high school, he settled in France, where he began studying literature at the Sorbonne in 1951. So basically, seeing his family, well, this Costa gentleman's family, especially his father, was a staunch communist. So I mean, there you go. That definitely explains everything. Rigor Mortis, how you doing? Thank you very much for watching Mood of the Nation. Jojo Gizmo, thank you very much for watching also. Bridget Barder warned France about these scumbags in the 1960s, and she was fined many €1,000 and almost jailed for speaking out. Oh dear. Well, I would say looking of what's going on now, I mean, were they wrong? Absolutely not. France is getting closer to an actual uprising. Remember those French generals who warned of it last year and were called far righters. But it's definitely going to be happening. I keep hearing all kinds of talks about a potential French civil war. I mean, especially what's going on over there. I mean, if you thought Britain was bad, holy shit, like that's nothing compared to what's going on in France. I mean, the French people are just fed up with what's going on over there. And do you know what? Understandably so. And I take my hat off to them because clearly they're finally speaking out about it. They really just can't stand what's going on. Right. Let me just. I had the torch for 2 years. This is the longest it's ever been on. I'm fascinated now as to how long the battery is going to hold out. That's a good point. Because I've never actually charged it, so I don't. Hopefully, it might stay long for the entirety of the show. I mean, we're actually on to 8 o'clock already, which we might as well get right into the trailer again, and then we'll get into the somewhat of other reaction video by another podcast, which. There's an interesting part about that podcast of what they say about the far right, if you will. I'll get to that in a short moment here. So let me just get back on to the trailer, and then we'll see from there. So there's a bit of a history lesson regarding to this filmmaker right here, Romain Gavras. Anyway, let's continue on.
Et tu veux pas les parler au petit frère là? Hein? C'est quoi? C'est des fous ça quoi?
À chaque fois qu'il tape, on tape. À chaque fois qu'il tue, on tue. Sur les réseaux et sur BFM, ils disent que si ça se trouve, c'est pas les condés qui fait la bavure.
Oh, wait a minute. I just want to go back to this producer credit real quick. Right, co-writer Ladisle, how do you want to pronounce it? Filmmaker of Les Miserables. Or The Miserables. I'm sure people might remember that film when it came out. It was quite a big deal when it came out. I remember it was back in 2013 or 2014, something like that, almost 10 years ago. And this co-writer here, who's also one of the writers for this film, is a black gentleman. So I guess maybe that might speak volumes on that as well, but anyway, we'll just go back onto the trailer.
Sur les réseaux et sur BFM, ils disent que si ça se trouve, c'est pas les condés qui fait la bavure.
On va retrouver ceux qui ont fait ça à ton petit frère, que ce soit des gars de chez nous ou pas.
Interesting tidbit here with this trailer. I know it's only a trailer. It's not like the actual film itself. So obviously the scenes here are taken out of context or anything like that at all. But what I find really interesting about this trailer is the moments where they talk about that the people who killed the brother character possibly could be police officers, but they might not be. But again, from what I've seen from the reaction, especially when it comes to like the left and whatnot, this really does come off as like left-wing porn, because it really just comes off as, regardless if the killer was a police officer or not, we're just going to completely blame it on the French people and acting like as if these migrants, these foreigners who came to France, regardless if they came there legally or illegally, we're just going to basically teach the French people, the indigenous people of France, telling them this is our country now. We're actually going to be the colonizers, and we're going to take over your land, whether you like it or not. At least that's, I mean, but again, I don't want to come off as like a far right conspiracy theorist, but that's what comes off to me and a lot of other people who've seen this. And that's why people are calling it anti-white propaganda. Because as you see, most of the people, or at least the characters, are mostly non-white or non-French. Again, well, you could say non-white regarding to that. But they're being looked as like the victims of this oppression by the French people. And it's like, look, if they don't like France for what France is or what it's doing to these people, it's like, then just fuck off. Go back to their own fucking country then. It's that simple. I really just don't understand how that's such a controversial statement to make. I mean, if these foreigners who go to the country but then don't want to integrate, nor do they even want to integrate, if they don't like it, then they can just fuck right off. Simple as. But anyway, we'll just continue on from there with this trailer, and then we'll move on to one reaction video about this trailer. So anyway, 3, 2, 1.
Non mais c'est quoi ton problème? T'aimes encore obéir aux ordres?
Crois-moi, je veux pas qu'il y ait la guerre, surtout pas ici, là.
Tu comprends pas qu'elle a commencé déjà la guerre?
Rated R for language and violence. Well, there you go. Again, just more anti-white drivel from these anti-white scumbags. I mean, for me, I know people might, really would just like, oh, I can't believe they would make a film like this, but it's not really that much of a surprise anymore. And to be quite frank, I really just wish that this film would not really exist, to be honest. But I mean, that's the current state we're living in just now with that. So anyway, right then. So looks like a load of tribe. I mean, yeah, it does. I have no real interest in watching it whatsoever. Especially, I'm not going to support a film that's clearly intended to be an anti-white propaganda. So there's really no point of wasting your energy and watching that load of crap. And the scary thing is that there are savages in France who actually do think that these people and want such an uprising to occur. When it does, I hope the French authorities wipe them all. Oh, okay. And it's not just France, it's Belgium too. All right, Belgium as well. Woodlander's in the chat. Hello, Woodlander. Oh, we're in the dark again tonight. Well, we are technically in the dark, but I've got like a light source that will definitely help you out. I would definitely say it's pretty good, especially maybe maybe next time I should put something in front of it, like a piece of paper, because I've seen that before. Whenever people put like lighting for shows like this, then they would maybe put something in front of the torch so it doesn't instantly just like boom right in your face type of idea. But yeah, so might be slightly different, but there we go. So anyway, they sound just like Spurgeon. Oh, okay. So fucking dear. Right. So that was that trailer. I mean, no one's really that surprised anymore when it comes to this complete garbage. And I have watched many people giving their own takes with it. I've seen all kinds of posts on Telegram, people within PA, people outside of PA, but also being nationalists as well, giving their own side of what they think of Athena, this upcoming French film. And of course, they say this is completely anti-white propaganda. You just know that the filmmakers of this film hope it comes true. Well, I mean, yeah, as English Rose accurately pointed out in the chat, it's basically left-wing porn. It's basically porn for like the lefty types. Now then, with that being said, there was one reaction video, sort of a reaction video. I mean, I've seen on YouTube, and I'm just going to bring this video up here. Now, I have talked about these complete twats before, but I'm going to bring them up again. It's the Lotus Eaters podcast. Now, I know some people might roll their eyes at me when I say that. They, oh, why are you giving them attention and all of that? But there was something that was quite, I keep spitting all the time. Sorry, my bad. But there was something that was quite interesting brought up during their video. Now, see if I can get this up here real quick. There is Netflix's Minoritarian Civil War, I think it's called, the video. Of course, Sargon is in the video as well, and as we lackey, if you will. Chief's electric bill for the show is £679. Thanks, Green Energy. Yeah, thanks, Green Energy. I mean, especially what's going to be like in terms of winter. It's going to be really crazy. Chief, when you get some new wallpaper, god damn it! I thought people might not actually bring this up, but I mean, it's not like my actual room. It's just like a spare room I'm using at the moment. So, I'm only just using the room because it's got plenty of space to do the show and kind of thing. So, please ignore the wallpaper, which I know that might be ironic because I'm actually bringing more attention to it. But I mean, it's not my decision. Okay, I'm sorry, but the Applebee's Eater podcast. If it comes to street war, they may have a big thing surprise. We've been at that for centuries. Yeah, of course. Metropolitan France is now occupied territory. Chief Woody, even the tourists are having second thoughts about visiting Paris. Oh dear, it's actually gone that bad now. Jesus. This film is just gauging the public's reaction for future events planned. That wallpaper looks like a psyop. Don't say that, Joe. No, it's not a psyop. Retro-looking wallpaper. You think so? I never thought of it being like retro. Anyway, we'll move on from there. We'll stop talking about the fucking wallpaper. But anyway, so then, this video by the Lotus Eaters podcast, or more accurately, as Kurt pointed out in the chat, the Applebee's Eater podcast, they give their hot take, if you will, their Sif Natty take and all of that. We must include intellectualism and individuality. We should give everyone a copy of Locke and then give them a British flag, and hopefully that might solve the problem, which it doesn't. They've tried that for the past, 10, 15, maybe like years now, and it's only made the problems even more worse. Chief Rudy Bean says, "You've adopted the darkness. I was born in." Based. Where's the three ducks? I don't know about that. That film just reminds me of Planet of the... Oh, god damn it, Keith Grant. It's more 70s wallpaper than Terry and June, to be honest. Right, okay, guys, let's stop talking about the goddamn wallpaper. Let's actually focus on what's really important here, which is the film Athena, and of course Sargon and his wee milk-fed gimp lackey, not V, but someone entirely different. Let's get right into this. So let me just share the screen once again, and we'll see if we can get this sorted up here. Right, okay. Maybe that might be better actually. Okay, so let's get to this part here. So I'm not going to play the entirety of the video. There's actually one specific section I want to cover. It's after they watch the trailer, and then they again give their hot take. There's something interesting they brought up here, which I'll cover in a moment here. So let me just skip to 10 minutes and 38 seconds, and then we'll get right into it. So is it Sharon? Sharon, right? Just want to double check. So anyway, 3, 2, 1.
Them look like colonizers, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not like in Saudi Arabia or anywhere in Africa there's a city called Athena, because Athena is the name of the Greek goddess of wisdom that Athens took its name from. Probably the autochthonous god of Athens that, of course, the French would have picked up on because of the renaissance of ancient classical era literature in the sort of 15th and 16th centuries. So to have a bunch of Arabs and Africans chanting Athena, Athena, Athena is them saying this is our colony.
Yeah, just this section of wherever we live. We own this. This is where we're starting our revolution, and we're going to...
This is not indigenous.
We're going to start the race war against the French because the French don't treat us right. But you'll notice in there, all throughout the movie, multiple characters keep saying, we'll find whoever did this, cop or not. It's not actually confirmed that the cops even did it.
Right.
I mean, it's an even worse example of George Floyd 2, Baguette Boogaloo over here.
I mean, I don't appreciate the whole fucking French jokes and all of that. Like they make. I mean, if they have a history of making French jokes here and there, but they're the French and whatnot, which of course is part of the whole anti-white propaganda. Like even though it might be all harmless fun, but it's clearly part. When you make fun of another European nation, say like the French or whatnot, it's clearly part of the anti-white propaganda, like trying to like shit on a particular group of people. But that being said, that was also something I forgot to mention when I was reacting to the trailer itself. It does come across as like maybe the whole George Floyd riots maybe were a bit of an inspiration for the film. Especially if you watch certain clips of that trailer, you could easily see that. Some of the scenes kind of are very reminiscent of the riots that occurred the peaceful protests that occurred in Minnesota. So anyway, we'll just move on from there with this video and continue to play.
But notice how they're basically saying the French race did this to us?
Yeah.
It's just the French. The French.
So we have to become literal barbarians. I mean, like, the imagery is just the kind of thing you would expect the far right to make up.
Oh, yeah.
So there we go. Now this is their time to do some kind of like snipe at the far right, if you will. We'll just continue on from there and why exactly they would say this. Here we go.
Oh yeah, this is exactly what this is I mean, they're probably thrilled that they produced this.
And left-wing Netflix are like, no, we've been to France.
Right, I just want to make a point real quick, Sargon. No, we're not thrilled that this film exists. In fact, it's actually the polar opposite. I would want films nowadays, I mean, especially films nowadays, especially that are produced here in the West, they're just so anti-white, I should say. So this idea of us like the far right would be we're just like I don't know, pleasing ourselves, if you will, that this film exists, is actually the polar opposite. I don't want a film like this to exist because it's just anti-white propaganda. I mean, could you even imagine if the shoes were on the other foot, if it was, say, like anti-African propaganda or anti-Japanese or Japan propaganda or so on and so forth? You would never hear the end of it. But because it's anti-white or anti-white propaganda, all of a sudden, oh no, it's completely fine, you know. There's also something another point to bring up here. So again, just in short, no, we're not actually thrilled that this film exists. We're not even thrilled that a film like Cuties exists, because these films are just complete tripe that are just full to the brim of pure propaganda, and these films should not exist whatsoever. And I know people might be angered at me saying that because that's against like free speech. It's like, but these are clearly propaganda pieces that are meant to dissemble. I'm trying to think of the other words I would normally use, and that lost in my hand, lost in my mind. Sorry. Dismantle, basically a deconstruction. That's a prime word of it. Is deconstructing everything what we know and then trying to just dismantle it from the ground up. So a film like Cuties, for example, is basically glorifying pedophilia, and if anyone who opposes it, well, you know, this is a work of art. You shouldn't really judge it because it should be, you know, because art is very subjective. It's all this the coping bullshit you hear from those people. And of course, with this film, Athena, I would imagine people would try and defend it by saying, well, again, this is just a work of art. You shouldn't. You know, art is very subjective, blah, blah, blah. Again, it's just a gigantic cope to defend the idea of producing anti-white propaganda. Anyway, continuing on from there. Sorry, my bad.
It is like this. And
honestly, it's the same with Cuties. Like, if the far right were like, if some online Nazis were like, what would be the worst thing that they could put out to put people on our side? But like, why don't they make a film venerating pedos? That'd be great. Why don't they make a film venerating like violent minorities trying to overthrow France
and destroy the native population? Yeah. Because Gibbs. Yeah. I mean, I'm not joking about the Gibbs either. Apparently, the word Athena is very close to another word in French that literally means Gibbs. So we'll get to that in a minute, though, because if we go to the angle response, of course, the Anglos here being like the right-wing conspiracy to celebrate
the right-wing conspiracy theory to celebratory Netflix film pipeline. Yes, see, this is why it's a good thing, and here.
Cuties is great.
Yeah.
Athena is fantastic. Race war now, says the left wing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, really, our one's exactly on the money here.
Just like I'm glad we're on the same page. I mean, so the left did encourage all this mass migration for a reason, and now you're making pornographic films for yourselves about the dream you want to happen.
Well, I mean, just to answer that, yeah. I mean, sorry, excuse me, it's all part of the anti-white agenda. The whole point, like films like these, like Athena or Cuties or whatever, it's all part of, again, dismantling. I've said this already, but it's all about dismantling. It's all about deconstructing the West and Europe, and it's basically like right in your face, telling you this is the changes coming. You better accept it, whether you like it or not. Now, in this case, when it comes to the film like Athena, yeah, it does play an element of the like, mass migration, especially what's really going on in France right now. And this film is basically telling the French people, you're going to be replaced, whether you like it or not. So again, this idea of, oh, this is something that the far right would make, it's actually not. We would never make films like this. We just want to be left alone to our own devices, and want the white people, especially being in Britain or France or all across Europe, to be remained as the majority of these countries. Again, it's not really a controversial statement to me. I just don't understand why that's such a controversial statement, because I want the Japanese to remain as the majority of Japan. I want the Indians to remain as a majority of within the country of India, and so on and so forth. I think any racial group who's part of any country should remain as the majority of that country and should prosper. All of a sudden, when you say that about white people, especially in Europe, all of a sudden it's like, no, we need multiculturalism, we need diversity and all of that. It's just, they're all just buzzwords. They're all just buzzwords for anti-white. It's all part of an anti-white agenda that's trying to replace the indigenous people of these countries. And that's really what it all boils down to with that.
Which is a huge race war against the natives. Okay, good to have an admission, I suppose.
Yeah.
Even if it's not as, I mean, it's pretty explicit. But we've got the next one here. There's also just the fact of course, just in response to this, the phrase diversity is our strength, or diversity makes us stronger. I mean, you got this during George Floyd. I believe that's where that image is from.
Yeah.
But
it's not wrong, is it? Because without diversity, they wouldn't need this strong a police state.
Yeah, but it's also diversity is our strength.
Yeah, their strength.
Who's our?
Them.
Right? And, well, I mean,
Not
there's two
us.
interpretations, isn't it? It's certainly not the native population, that's for sure.
You don't need a police force like that because of your average Frenchman or Englishman.
No.
Or maybe your average Frenchman, actually, but not your average Englishman.
Mayday, maybe.
Yeah.
Again, more of like of the anti-white, like joking and all of that. Like Sargon, I know you may be like joking and all of that, but the French people are actually being affected really badly in France right now, especially with this mass migration. And all you can basically do is, oh the French, they're just cucks. Fuck you. I'm sorry for I really don't want to come to that point when it comes to Sargon, but I can't stand that fucking guy. He's just such a LARPing douchebag. I can't stand him. The fact that people actually still watch his content is beyond me. Even after the fact of when he was on Academic Agents stream one time where he talks about, oh, in order for these immigrants to maybe stay away, that we should just write them a letter and basically telling them, please foreigner, please don't come to our country and take our benefits and rape our women and molest our children. Please, sincerely, Carl Benjamin, aka Sargon of Akkad, smug chuckles. Just like after that, people would just instantly reject him. Like, what the fuck are you on about? You're just blatantly ridiculous. But people still watch his content and still listen to him. Well, we all know he's a giant gatekeeper anyway. But anyway, continue on from there.
But there's just the whole thing of trust us. It's our strength. But also, diversity in those articles from the professional side of all of this ideology. Trust us, it'll increase profitability. Trust us, it brings cohesion and is future-proofing your workplace. But also at the same time, we will need an absolute police state to keep everything in order because the whole world is going to fall apart in response in the race war we're bringing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like you're dealing with Zinch or something.
No, this is genuinely one of the forces of chaos, and this is Zinch. You are correct.
Yeah. If we go to the next one here, there's just also something else, which I fell off at the time. I don't remember this. I ran across it whilst researching this. Just this headline. Again, with the level of confusion you get out of these people. London Police Commissioner says nationalities of 8 on London Bridge victims tell a proud story of the city's diversity. This was unironically the intersectional chief of police.
This is how we respond to the London Bridge attack.
Yeah, so some people were butchered as a van drove them down, and some other guys got out with knives, stabbing people to death, screaming Allahu something, I don't know.
But look at the diversity of the victims.
And the intersectional police chief's response was, "Isn't it so nice how so few English people are in London that none of them died?"
Oh crap! I didn't mean to do that. Well,
So only all of the.
It's not how I interpreted the London Bridge attack, but I'm a right winger.
If we go to the article itself, it's not even a disingenuous headline. Like, she is off her rocker. Like, it gets worse. She said in here, she said a long time.
Pause. There we go. I don't know why it does that. But anyway, but yeah, but again, just to answer that, you want to know why this chief constable, whatever her position is, you know why she would make statements like that? Because again, she's part of the anti-white system. It's clearly anti-white. This idea of, oh well, this tragic event happened because of this foreigner, but just look at the amount of diversity that happened with the victims. It's like, who gives a fuck? Like, this person who committed this act clearly should not be in this country whatsoever. But again, it's all part of the anti-white system. It's all part of the anti-white agenda. They try, whenever like a terrorist attack that happens, they try everything they can to make sure that, oh no, don't focus on this aspect, but just focus on the fact that diversity is still our greatest strength, and multiculturalism and how great it is. It's all part of the anti-white agenda. I do apologize if I sound like I'm repeating myself here, but it bears repeating here because these couple of daft cunts just can't seem to see. Well, we all know for a fact they actually can see it, but they just don't have the balls to actually be truthful or even honest about what's actually going on here. You know, and they're basically the definition of gatekeepers. I want to go back real quick and because it was an interesting point what Sargon says here. If I can maybe, I know we've already listened to this part, but there was something that I might have missed that I wanted to maybe respond to what Sargon says here, but we'll just cover this in a moment here. So
just this section of wherever we live, we own this. This is where we're starting against the French because the French don't treat us right. But you'll notice in there all throughout the movie to confirm that the cops even did it.
Right.
Over here.
But notice how they're basically saying the French race did this.
Any literal barbarians.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. This is exactly what you. Yeah, this is I mean, they're probably thrilled that they produced this.
And left-wing Netflix are like, no. We've been to France. It is like this. And
honestly, it's the same with cuties. Like, you know, if the far right were like, you know, if some online Nazis were like, what would be the worst thing that they could put out to put people on our side? Like, why don't they make a film venerating pedos? That'd be great.
Well,
why don't they make a film venerating like violent minorities trying to overthrow France
and destroy the native population?
Yeah.
Because Gibbs. Yeah. I mean, I'm not joking about the Gibbs either. Apparently, the word Athena is very close to another word in French that literally means Gibbs. So, we'll get to that in a minute, though, because we go to the Angle response. Of course, the Anglos here being like the right-wing conspiracy to celebrate
the right-wing conspiracy theory to celebratory Netflix film pipeline. Yes, see, this is why it's a good thing, and here.
Cuties.
That's a bit bizarre. So it's a bit bizarre because there was a part in this video where I don't know if maybe Sargon says it here, but basically Sargon goes on to say that, you know, if this was like far right propaganda to get people on the side of the far right, I think he says something to that line. So I just want to see if I can maybe find it here because I'm pretty sure he says it here somewhere.
This is great.
Yeah,
Athena is fantastic. Race war now, says the left wing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, really, our one's exactly on the money here.
Just like I'm glad we're on the same page. I mean, so the left did encourage all this mass migration for a reason, and now you're making pornographic films for yourselves about the dream you want to happen, which is a huge race war against the natives. Okay, good to have an admission, I suppose.
Yeah.
Even if it's not, it's pretty explicit. But we've got the next one here. There's also just the fact of course, just in response to this, the phrase "diversity is our strength." Or diversity makes us stronger. I mean, you got this during George Floyd. I believe that's where that image is from.
Yeah,
but
just, it's not wrong, is it? Because without diversity, they wouldn't need this strong a police state.
I'll just stop there with this video because I'm pretty sure he does say something like that. Because I remember listening to it this morning, you know, just before I went to work, and then I thought that was interesting. He would say that. Well, this was produced by the far right. You know, this would definitely get people on our side. Look, regardless if it were to be produced by the far right, or not, you know, I mean, what exactly would be wrong of normal everyday people would look at these films, whether it be Athena or Cuties, and think, well, hold on a minute here, I do not support this in any way, shape, or form. And not only that, what would happen afterwards is they would be called, you know, racist or xenophobic, bigoted, what other buzzwords we would normally use? Sexist, homophobic, and blah blah blah. Then of course it will get people more involved with the far right. But I mean, let's just be honest here. I would say it's more like the distant right and all of that. Even Austin Advocate in the chat here is saying, if I can go back here real quick, far right is a term I never use to describe my views. I'm a racial nationalist. Fair enough. There you go. Or even just a nationalist, regarding to that. I'm glad that they made the film. It's a huge own goal by the anti-whites. Well, yeah, because it definitely does get people on our side. Yeah, I can definitely see that. But I think I can actually understand why Sargon would make these points about that, because he realizes, oh shit, people are actually going to go over to that side of the fence, but actually we need to be the gatekeepers and actually get people, kind of like what Nigel Farage does, where it's like, oh no, don't go over there because that's an extreme far right, but come over to our side. We're the side of intellectualism and telling you how individualism will definitely help us win the culture war, and how you should support someone like, I don't know, fucking Thomas Sowell or whatever the fuck may be, and then giving them a copy of Locke and telling them how great Britain is and all of that. And it's like, look, Sargon, your worldview is shite. I'm sorry to be as pardon my French, but your whole take on this of the culture war is complete garbage, and it doesn't fucking work. Again, I've talked about this before, and I don't want to toot my own horn, but just look at For Britain, which was a shock for myself and many other people. For Britain completely disbanded. And I think for me and a lot of other people really goes to show that maybe that civic nationalism doesn't actually work. If the way I see civic nationalism is, so ethno-nationalism or nationalism, whatever you want to call it, is the true proper form, whereas civic nationalism is basically the gimp suit version of nationalism. It's basically a very cuckold, very soft version of like proper nationalism. That's how I see civic nationalism. So nationalism or ethno-nationalism, like if there were two images, it would, like, ethno-nationalism or nationalism would be the strong stoic, like Chad, if you will. And then you get civic nationalism, which is basically a guy in a gimp suit. Might sound very like crude or whatever, but that's how I personally see it as. It's something that when it comes to civic nationalism, it's something that people never should be taken seriously whatsoever. Back in the mo, folks, I'm bursting for a wee. No worries, Exile Viking. I infiltrated a couple of UKIP meetings back in the day. The views of the rank and file were identical to that of the BNP. Interesting. But then, of course, they would completely they completely bar people from becoming a member if they were a member of the BNP or I think it was an ADL or something like that. But then they have almost the same kind of talking points as the BNP back in the day. That's really interesting. Maybe they were like that back then, but because times have changed, they're like, we should maybe kind of censor ourselves, maybe be more civ-natty, but I don't know, maybe the case would be with that. Sargon has a lot of cash invested in his brand, to tell the truth. Well, of course, that's what ultimately boils down to. With these types of Sith-nat types, they're not really interested in the proper truth, because it's all about the fucking shackles at the end of the day. Probably being paid by the very same people that are causing this mess to begin with, which, I mean, that really should fucking tell you something there. Have you even read Locke, bro? Gamma sandwich. Sargon is just a grifting gatekeeper. It basically is that. And I think I'll move on from there and not give them any more attention or anything like that at all. So yeah, they sussed I was ex-BNP and they blocked my number. Okay. Gamma sandwich. Nationalist, which is espresso, Sifnas soy latte. Dear. Rider Iron Spear, Jim Dawson is funded by Hope Not Hate. I mean, I think everyone already knows that, especially what came out of the recent Tommy Robinson documentary about Hope Not Hate. Now, again, I'm not a fan of Tommy Robinson myself, but I think that does definitely goes to show the types of people we're dealing with when it comes to, these so-called nationalists, if you will. Anyway, the liberalist trademark will make a comeback. I fucking doubt it will. I mean, we all remember exactly what happened with the liberalist movement, how Sargon and all of that were trying to build that. But then it got so bad that Sargon actually left the liberalist movement, copyright trademark, by the way, actually left that and joined UKIP. What do you mean? What does that fucking tell you? He was trying to build a political movement that was all about, oh, my free speech, bro, my free speech. It's like, mate, everyone's in favor of free speech. Who the fuck isn't? That's why it all completely fell apart. But it was all. But he did that because it was based on Sargon's fucking, like his money, his fame, and his fucking ego. That's all what it boiled down to. He did. People like Sargon don't really give a damn about the future of Britain or anything like that at all. They're only just in it for their own pockets. Same thing when it comes to people. This is like a ranting fest with these types of stuff. I've known I've already done this before, but I can't stand these people. It's just they know for a fact of what's actually going on, but they just don't have the balls to actually be openly honest about what's actually going on. That's really what it boils down to. I'm not completely in favor of free speech. I mean, neither am I. I'm not. I would say I'm not a free speech absolutist, because see, this is where it gets like muddy territory when it comes to like the subject matter of free speech. Because when you say like, oh, I am a free speech absolutist, I believe everyone should have free speech. Okay, then, buddy. So does that also count for pedophilia? Also, does that also count for incest? Does that also count for stuff like, I don't know, like bestiality or necrophilia? Because again, if you're a free speech advocate or a free speech absolutist, then you'd be in favor of that type of I can't even say it, degenerate shit, right? I know I'm not. Which is why I'm not a free speech absolutist. And when I was a Sipnat, I used to believe this idea, but looking back on it now, it was very cringe, because I realized that there's actually a thin line, or there should be lines drawn when it comes to certain subject matters. So again, when it comes to pedophilia, there will be people that will come out of the woodwork and giving out their own hot takes of, oh, well something like what's popular, or, well, not popular, but what's quite prominent on Twitter. The MAP community, or the minor attracted people community. These are the types of people who will say that, oh, we believe we should have the right to express our actual love for children, but don't worry, guys, we will never harm a child in any way, shape, or form. It's like, I don't give a fuck. You're a danger to not only to children, but you're a danger to fucking society. So I think I often tend to laugh at people who say they're free speech absolutists, because it just seems to think, to me anyway, that they don't really properly think about free speech or anything like that at all, or never realize that actually there should be lines drawn when it comes to certain things of freedom of speech. But anyway, let me see here. Tank alarming with that. Bill, I think free speech is all very well until it becomes partial and the butthole of weirdos. Exactly that. I mean, we've because of today's democracy, if you will, when it comes to free speech, we got all these weirdo groups, like the furry community, the MAP community. We have also other people like you can even say like some cases like people like porn or whatever, but. It's just, it's like, well, where's the line drawn with that? There should be like a fine line there. But anyway, time's it now 8:43. Well, I can't believe that the show has actually been pretty quick, but I was going to maybe mention another article, but I think I'll save that for like another episode, maybe for Sunday's episode, and then of course wait and see from there. The entirety of tonight's episode is basically about the film Athena, and of course the reaction from the Applebee's Eaters podcast, if you want to call it that. But yeah, let me see here. Let's see if I can sort some in a moment here with that. Keith Grant, they should never have closed the asylums in the 1980s. And indeed, they shouldn't. They should definitely kept us open. Let me see. Folks, what to do is I'm just going to put another light on, again, just for like a background light as well. If you guys can bear with me just now, I'll be back in just a short moment. You can still hear me when I'm talking with that. But while you're at it, I'll maybe do the last 15 minutes, and then of course, we'll end the show at 9 o'clock. If you guys have any questions to ask me, just feel free to put them in the chat just now, and then I'll answer them. Just put at Chief Moody, and then ask any question you would like. So I know there's been quite a few questions in the chat already, which is pretty good. So hold on one sec. I should trademark that joke now. Well, I mean, you can have if you can if you want regarding to that. So I'm not too bothered. So nothing wrong with being attracted to minors. That I wish I was in a relationship with one of cheap coal. God damn, a streaky bacon. Oh, God. Okay. Thanks for the Joe streaky bacon. But anyway, all right. Be right back. 1 second here. Ooh. Oh. Feet hurt and my back hurts, but that's what happens when you're working hard, of course. But hey, I'm going to be working tomorrow, and then I'm off for the weekend. So hopefully tomorrow will fly by, and then that will all be done and dusted, folks. So it's going to be pretty based. Hold on a second here. Sort this out in a moment. Right. Okay. Oh crap. Okay. There we go. Right, back here again. Oh, there we go. Okay, so it didn't actually fix that, but it's like another light source over there, so that should somewhat sort it for the time being. Anyway, now we can truly. God damn it, people keep bringing on the wallpaper. It's funny because I think like the first time I've had myself in front of a camera was episode 88, which was back in June or July. I find it funny how like all of a sudden now people are talking about the goddamn wallpaper. Like it's just okay. Chief Moody, could you drop the links for our stream on Sunday evening? Yeah, I'll do that, Ragnar. In fact, Ragnar, do you want me to announce it just now, or do you want me to wait until Sunday since you mentioned that? Because I don't know if you wanted that to be like a surprise kind of thing, or like hold on one sec. Exile Viking, you look like an Alaskan logger living in a cabin with the candlelight effect and the sharp Moody. Oh, thank you. That actually would be pretty based. Living in that type of like cabin, like, and just being like a like what was it, like a logger, or maybe what another name of it is, a lumberjack or something like that. I'm a lumberjack and I'm okay. Based. That actually would be pretty ideal. Actually, now that I think of it. But yeah, the shirt, it might be a logger look, but I like wearing these shirts regardless with that. But anyway. Well, let me just see if I can find the link that Ragnar Ironspear has sent me. Just 1 sec, folks, and then I'll post it in the chat. In fact, has he responded to that? Hold on 1 sec. A lumberjack. Go ahead, Chief Moody. Okay, fair enough. Well, I'm just going to do an announcement just now, folks, but this coming Sunday, not only will I'll be streaming Mood of the Nation episode 102 at 5 p.m. But I'll be finishing that stream relatively early as well. Not too early, but the reason I'll be doing that is because at 7 p.m. this Sunday at Ragnar Ironspear's stream, and I believe from what I remember, his stream is called Rags and Jacks. I'll be appearing in that stream. So for the first time, I'll be appearing on Ragnar Ironspear's stream at 7 p.m. So it's literally right after my stream. So obviously, when that day comes, after the stream comes to an end, I'll post a link for that for people to jump over if they choose to do so. Let me just see if I can get this up here. So what to do, folks, is 1 second here. Live in 2 days. Oh, that would be for Sunday the 4th. Yeah, it's a Sunday the 4th. Wait a minute. Today's the 1st. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, perfect. Okay, perfect. A chat with Chief Moody based. All right, let me just copy this and then post it in the link. So what to do, folks, is please subscribe to Ragnar Ironspear and give that stream a like, and that way you would get a better notification for when the stream is about to start. So this Sunday, Mood of the Nation episode 102 from 5 p.m. till 7, maybe slightly early, just so I'm all prepared for what will happen at 7 p.m., which is Ragnar Iron Spears stream, or the Rags and 42 stream, which will be at 7 p.m. And I'll be having a chat with Ragnar Iron Spear, and I believe it will also be 42, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong on that, but I don't know. But anyway, I'll be appearing on that as a guest, of course. So definitely check it out when it happens. And of course, when the stream happens, I'll post a link in the chat as well for that episode to happen with that. So anyway, excellent. I think there were other questions that were brought up as well. And let me see if I can actually... Check shirts are the stuff this country was built on, based. I love check shirts. It must be my Celtic blood. It might be that. Now well, I'm Scottish. That might explain, why I like them as well. So, Rory Herbert, Chief Moody, any initial thoughts on the Times article on the Ayatollah today? I mean, I don't know. I hope he doesn't mind me saying Ayatollah or Tola in this case. I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, but I was scheduled to appear on Friday night dinner this Friday as for the first time as a guest on Ayatollah's stream, but due to the fact of what happened, that he was doxxed by the Times and by Dominic Kennedy, obviously he wanted to postpone that. I hope it doesn't mind me saying this again with that, which I can understand why in that case, but I just think it's such a really scumbaggy thing move on Dominic Kennedy's part, and also the Times regarding to that. I mean, this is also the same journalist who tried to do the same thing with Mark. I mean, I don't know about Laura, but I remember watching that audio video that Mark posted on his channel on Odysee, where he was interviewed by, of course, Dominic Kennedy and all of that, and completely trounces him from beginning to end. So again, it's not really that much of a surprise. I don't mean that in a derogatory term, but we all know for a fact that these journalists are just complete, utter scumbags. In fact, they're not really journalists. They're basically just lefty activists who are part of the machine, if you will, or they're cogs in the machine. Complete scumbags. I will say this about Tola. He did I have read bits and pieces of what he wrote on Telegram with the 4-part posts he made, and yeah, I mean, I'll again take my hat off to him. I hope that it's nice to see that he's not completely backed away from it. He's like, oh, well, I've been doxxed, so that must mean that I have to stop doing what I'm doing. No, I'm assuming that he's going to continue on doing what he does, and hopefully maybe he'll be in front of a camera. I mean, I don't know, but that'll be interesting to see with that. So but yeah, there we go. I'm sure Tola will be fine. Obviously, it's not like the end of the world or anything like that at all. I mean, again, I've said this before in the past, but I've been doxxed, and yet, from my experience back in November up until now, nothing bad has happened to me. So, I guess maybe it's luck. I have no idea, but anyway, I'm sure Tola will be fine. I'm sure he'll definitely come back from this. So it's not like it's going to be the end of the Ayatollah or anything like that at all. So anyway, people only have future walls paper now and a paper hanger. I couldn't see it before. It was too dark. Okay, let's see here. God damn it. Maybe the torch wasn't a good idea. Wallpaper highlighter. I mean, you guys. I mean, in all fairness, right? I mean, there was people. I know people might have been joking, but people were saying, "Well, maybe you should have like better lighting and all of that." But I did try with like a lamp type of idea, but I gave more of a cozy feel. But it wasn't really great source of lighting. But I thought maybe this might do it. But I mean, of course, people are just like, "Oh, I can see your wallpaper." Oh. I mean, it's like, great, cool. So I'm glad people, give their takes on the wallpaper. So I'll be on that stream with 42 as well. That's pretty based. I've seen 42 on PA Talks, so that would be interesting to see. And also, I believe he was on Scott's Armor stream or DJ or Resisting the Wise stream. So that would be interesting to see. Excellent. I'm mostly Scottish Irish myself. Fair enough. Fair enough. He drinks them all. Canada was built on the backs of lumberjack shirts. Canada, excellent. I think I'm pretty sure I've heard that before. You could tell when that dominant is lying, his mouth moves. Yeah, exactly, Joe. It was Mark and Laura he tried to catch out. Yes, exactly. That is shit for Tola, bastards. Yeah, I mean, it is. But again, it's not really going to be the end of the world. I'm sure Tola will come back from it. Taran was found on a mummy in the Taran Basin in Western China. Skeleton was a European race person. Interesting. There's a special place in hell for doxing journalists. Oh dear. He gave a great response. Indeed, he did. He did give a great response to it, which is why I would say I've definitely taken my hat of him. Definitely. I've missed Tola. He was my favorite streamer. Come winter, you be sitting in a park and a woolly hat because you won't be able to afford put a heating on. Yeah, I know that. But I think a lot of people are a bit worried about that when it comes to the upcoming winter. I think for now, maybe it's a case of we'll just wait and see what happens, and if it's bad, then yeah, it's going to be really bad. Hopefully, it might wake people up and be like, you know what, enough's enough. We're not going to take the shit anymore. Tola will come back stronger. Indeed he will. He'll definitely come back. All right, folks. So that is 8:55. So we're just approaching the end of tonight's show. Might be relatively shorter than expected, but hey, I still give you guys like episode 101 of the Mood of the Nation podcast. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to end the stream. Of course, I'll be back on Sunday at 5 p.m. I'll end episode 102 a bit early, just so I'm more prepared for Ragnar Iron Spears' stream and also appearing with 42. So that way that's all sorted with that. So Tola is too clever, committed, and articulate for these people. And yeah, indeed he is, yeah. Right then. Okay. I want to play an outro song, but not just any outro song. I think because we talked about France and more specifically the upcoming Athena film, that's of course an upcoming French film. I might as well play this song as the outro. Now, of course, I might be affected by copyright with that, but I mean, I don't really care in one way or another. I want to see if I can maybe find that song first and then play it. I should have enough time to maybe have a look at this for a moment here. Let's see here. I think it was from this film, if I remember correctly. Right, hold on 1 second. 1 sec. Sorry, folks, I'm just testing something real quick. Right, okay, I'm going to play this song for the outro, again, because it's to do with like the upcoming French film. But yeah, I'll just play this as the outro. So thank you all once again for coming along and watching the show. I'll be back. I've already said, for plans for Sunday. So I'll keep you guys posted on Telegram and all the other platforms I'm on. Well, more specifically, maybe Telegram and all of that. But anyway, thank you all very much for watching the show. This is Chief Moody signing out. You have been watching the Mood of the Nation podcast, and I will see you all in the next episode. Take care, stay safe, and enjoy the rest of your evening. And of course, enjoy the weekend coming up. And I'll see you all next time. Take care, stay safe, and enjoy. Take care. Au revoir.
Sur mon lit à bouffer sa langue en buvant trop mon whisky. Quant à moi, peu dormi, vie débris. Mais j'ai dû dormir dans la gouttière où j'ai eu un flash. En 4 couleurs. Allez hop, un matin, une louloute est venue chez moi, poupée de cellophane, cheveux chinois. Un sparadrap, une gueule de bois. a bu ma bière dans un grand verre en caoutchouc. Comme un indien dans son igloo. Ça plane pour moi. Ça plane pour moi. Ça plane pour moi, moi. Ça plane pour moi. Ça plane pour moi. Allez hop, la nana, quelle banane, quelle vibration de s'envoyer sur paillasson. Limé, ruiné, vidé, comblé. You are the king of the divan. Qu'elle me dit en passant. I am the king of the divan. Ça plane pour moi. Ça plane pour moi. Ça plane pour moi, moi. Ça plane pour moi. Ça plane pour moi. Allez hop, t'occupe, t'inquiète, touche pas ma planète. It's not today que le ciel me tombera sur la tête et que la colle me manquera. Ça plane pour moi. Allez hop, banana, c'est tiré, c'est barré, enfin c'est marre à tout casser. L'évier, le bar me laissant seul, comme un grand connard. Le pied dans le plat, ça plane pour moi. Ça plane pour moi. Ça plane pour moi, moi. Ça plane pour moi. Ça plane pour moi. Ça plane pour moi. Ça plane pour moi. Ça plane.